Hey everybody, and welcome to a small tutorial on how to make custom classes for the Pit Infinity. So in order to make a custom class, you're going to need two things. You're going to need an installation of the Pit Infinity, of course, and you're going to need some sort of text editor. Preferably Notepad++ because it is a god tier editor. Okay, so once you have those two things installed, you're going to want to go to your installation folder for the Pit, which is usually going to be in Steam Apps Common the Pit Infinity. Once you're there, dive into the Pit, then into content and the Pit again, and you're going to want this folder. You want to go ahead and make a copy of that, so you can select it, hit Control C to make a copy, and then you're going to want to go ahead and open up a new folder somewhere, like say the desktop. So if we go ahead and pop up a folder over here on the desktop, see here, I went ahead and made one that says just Pit stuff in my mod. So in the my mod folder, you're going to go ahead and copy and paste that data file in there. So now we got data over here. And if we pop it open, here is all of the files we're going to be playing with. Okay, so now that you have your data folder in your mod folder, go ahead and rename that to backup. This is just in case something terribly goes wrong. Once you do that, go ahead and copy a second version of the data folder into here. So this, we're going to have backup to, as a backup, and then we're going to have data, which is the one we're actually going to work from, which we can go ahead and rename something like, work in progress, WIP. Okay, so once you've made those two folders, you want to open them in their own file explorers right next to each other. So we can go ahead and reference both of them at the same time. We're going to be working entirely out of our work in progress folder. You do not want to change anything in backup because that's our backup. Don't change anything there. So what we're wanting to do, we want to work with creatures.txt over here. This is the one that's going to let us make new characters. So go ahead and open up creatures.txt on this side and over here on work in progress and have them open in two separate work windows. Once you've opened both creature files up, you want to have them in their own separate windows so you can look at them both at the same time. And you want to make sure you don't get the two confused, so I went ahead and I made a small mod file over here. It's empty, but it just lets me know that this window is the mod window. This is the one I should be editing in. And thankfully, creatures.txt is set up in a way that the very first creature in it is actually the soul engineer, so the character we're actually going to be playing with here. Okay, so now that both of them are open and we know which one is which, we can start playing around with some of the values in here. And we could just go down the list and change them as they go. So internal name, we probably don't want to change that one. That one is probably used by something important on the inside. Display name, however, we can change that to anything we want. So let's go ahead and we're going to make a sharpshooter. So our character for right now is going to be, his display name is sharpshooter. So let's go ahead, change his description. Okay, I wrote up a small description for our sharpshooter. Bill Bilson is a Soul Force Ranger. What he lacks in a unique name, he makes up for with his excellent sharpshooting abilities. So that'll be our description for our sharpshooter. Race, I'm not really sure on race. I think that's just, a description. I don't think it matters in the long run, so you could probably change this to anything. It wouldn't really matter. Anything with lines in front of it like this, we can't do anything with. This is just there for the developers to know. So when the developer comes and checks this himself, he can see that, save game tag is the engineer. We can't actually edit any of this. This is commented out, so nothing we can do here. Intelligence, we probably want to leave that full. I assume changing intelligence to anything but full is probably a bad idea. Here we have starting health and starting energy. So we can, I don't know if energy is psi energy or sprint energy. I think it's psi energy, because even though there's no psionics in the game yet, all the psi stuff is actually here in the files. Not that we can do anything with it because none of the psi attacks or psi abilities are in the game. So let's go ahead and we'll set our health guy here to about, we'll do 80. He's gonna be a little stronger than the engineer, but not quite as strong as anyone else. We're going to leave energy at 100 because that's psi stuff. We can change health points per level. We can make it so he, say, gains, let's do something weird, 29 health a level. Every time he levels up, he's going to be getting 29 health. We don't really care about psi points per level because he can't use psi yet. That's not in the game. And we can change health regen if you wanted to make, say you wanted to make a giant amorphous blob that had 20 million health, no weapons, and really high health regen. You could do that if you wanted to. You could set this to, some crazy like 20 health a second. But the game's probably going to be a little easy here. We can't change the armor values or anything here. This just lets us know that this is the hunger section. So hunger draining period is how much time between the hunger draining, and hunger drain is how much it drains. I don't know if this is in seconds, but let's assume it is. So every 2.7 seconds, your hunger drains by 0.8%. So if you're doing, say, a big muscly guy who he's got a lot of health, maybe his hunger needs to drain a little faster. So you go like, 1.5 seconds, and it'll drain 1 every time. As it is, we're going to leave hunger drain and everything just as it is right now. I noticed in the game it doesn't really matter all that much. I don't think I've ever starved to death in this game. So we also have radiation decrease amount and radiation decrease period and radiation decrease amount. Same thing as hunger, but with radiation. You could probably, like, say if you were making a robot, you could do period to be 0.1 and then amount by 99 because robots can't die from radiation. At least I'm pretty sure robots couldn't die. Experience factor is how much experience, like, if, for the experience factor, we're at 1.8, so base level would be 1.0. A character with a 1.0 base level kills an enemy worth 50 experience points, gets 50 experience points. The engineer here is a little bit of an easier guy, so his experience factor is 1.8, so if he kills someone who's worth 50 points, he's going to get 50 times 1.8, so he's going to get nearly 100 points. He's going to get, like, what, 90 experience instead of 50? So if you're making a squishier character, someone who needs to level up in order to be really good, maybe, play with that, and you want to set it higher, set it lower. Move mode is currently legs. I'm pretty sure we need to save that because we don't have any playable characters that don't have legs yet, so we're going to keep legs right there. We do want role to be player, that way the game knows that we're making a guy who is a player. We can't do anything with game version or inventory width or inventory height. So next up we have level up stat points and level up skill points. Stat points would be brains and might and whatnot, and skill points are going to be all the stuff down here. So for our sharpshooter, I'm going to go ahead and say his stat points, he's going to get a lot of stat points. He's going to get 4 stat points to level up, which is a crazy amount. But he's only going to get 2 skill points. So where you put your skills are going to be very important. View arc, I guess you could just change this if you want the FOV to be larger for a character. I haven't messed around with that. Okay, so next up we have innate weapon. Innate weapon is going to be the weapon your character has when he has no weapon in his hands, i.e. he's going to be using punches. So as of right now, we kind of have to leave it as innate weapon. No character has any sort of like tail whip or anything. You could put it as a knife, but I'm not sure what happens if the knife breaks. I've never played long enough for the knife to break. But if you wanted to, you could, put something goofy there. In fact, let's go ahead and load up the weapons over here. If we go ahead back to our Explorer, over here on the left, we want to go ahead and open up, we want weapons. There we go. So I know it popped up over there on the right. We don't want that because this is the one we're referencing. So we're going to drag it and put it over here on the left. So now we have creatures and weapons to look at. So weapons has every sort of weapon in the entire game, even if it is enemy weapons or human weapons or player weapons, whatever. It's got all the weapons. So it is possible to give our characters these weapons, like weapon claw small. If we put this in, it will work over here. The only issue is there's no model for it. So your guy will have a empty hand. He'll look like he's holding an assault rifle with no assault rifle. And any attack is going to be a weird mashup of him attacking with an invisible assault rifle. So it's not really recommended to do that. You could do that. You could do something crazy and say give him a mag pistol. But if you run out of ammo, you can't possibly switch to your hands. Because when you unequip your weapon, it's just going to be the mag pistol. So it's really recommended just leave this as punch. Or if you want to play around with some of the other melee, you could put in something else like the bite or a tail whip. It's just going to look really funky. So as of right now, we're going to go ahead and leave that as punch medium. Okay, so next up we have skills. We want our skills to reflect what our character is. So our character is a sharpshooter, so we want him to be good with sniper rifles. So in order to make sure that's correct, we want to come over here to the left. We want to go to weapons. And we want to go find, say, the sniper rifle right here, sniper rifle. We want to make sure he has the right skill, because you never know. It could be heavy weapons, it could be shotgun, you never know. So you want to scroll down through this, and you want to find skill. So he needs skill rifle high, and he also needs at least 30 finesse. So we need to come over here, and we need to make sure his rifle is high. See, the engineer's default rifle is actually very low. We probably want this to be closer to, say, 55, and in exchange, we'll go ahead and lower this down to, say, 35. He won't be very good with his knife, so that's going to go down to 20, and blade is more or less non-existent at 5. Anything, like, at this point, you just kind of have to think of what you want him to be. You're just going to have to go through each one and reason why he would be that way. We do have, like, telekinesis and stuff down here. This still doesn't do anything. They're in the stats, so you can't do anything with them, though. And you do probably want to keep it sort of balanced. I'm not going to say any of these are balanced, but you want to at least try for balancing. So if you're going to increase one, you probably want to decrease another somewhere else. So let's say, since he's a sharpshooter, he's probably very good with computers and electronics, but probably not very good with engineering. He doesn't make anything himself. So his forging is probably pretty down, and his mechanical is probably pretty down. However, he is a sharpshooter, so let's say sort of spy-like. So let's say his decipher is actually pretty good. And he's very adept at spotting traps. And lockpicking, probably, because he's probably trying to get into places he's not supposed to be. Other than that, there are other skills that aren't listed here that start off as 0. In order to see those, you're going to have to go back to your our backup here, our little backup folder. And you need to come down here to skills. And it has popped up in the wrong one again, so we're going to drag it back over there. You want it to always be over there on the left. Okay, so in here, we can actually see all the different skills. And we can't really change anything. We can change what they're based on. That's about it. We can see all the to-dos that the devs are working on. They need to localize all this stuff. So if, like, say, for instance, the engineer over here, he doesn't have heavy weapons listed, but that is a skill you can actually put on. So if you're making a heavy weapons expert, you'll need to go ahead and manually add heavy weapons, because otherwise it starts as a 0. So there aren't too many skills in the game. We could make him, like, really good with, I think there's spears somewhere. Yeah, there's like one spear in the entire game, so I wouldn't recommend that. Medical, melee, forging, you know, all these crazy things. You can make it better with mecha empathy, but that doesn't really help because that doesn't do anything yet. Anyway, so we'll hop back in here to creatures, the mod creatures, that is. So I think this is gonna be what our guy is for right now. I don't think we want to change too much. Next up, we have the equipment. So this is going to be weapons, it's going to be armor, it's going to be items. So, in order to do that, we need to hop back in over to the Explorer once more. And we need to open up, we need armor, ammo, and items. Then once we have all that, we need to click and drag them to move them back to the left. I don't know why they always pop up on the right for me, but they do. There we go. So now we have creatures over here and all of our reference material over here on the left. So first off, we're going to come to, this is the point where you really need to come up with a game plan for your stuff. There's so many things, and if you look at the items, there's a million items. You really need to know what you want to put on there first. I mean, you can, just kind of scroll down like, oh yeah, we'll just give him a bunch of metal, and he really needs 13 polymer infusers. That's probably not going to be the best thing to do. So as of right now, he's got a pistol, which would be a weapon. He's got a jumpsuit, 2 knives, some ammo for the pistol, some ammo for some energy cells, 4 rations, 2 medkits, 3 anti-venoms, diagnostic toolkit, digital assistant, motion sensor, lockpick, grenade, med patch, repair kit, boomstick, shotgun shells, and an infuser. So I wouldn't really say this is what a sharpshooter would need. I think a sharpshooter probably needs a sniper rifle. So if we come back over here, we want to make sure we grab the internal name. And we're going to go ahead and copy. We're going to come over here, replace his pistol with a sniper rifle. Then we come over here, we got to check what rifle or what it uses. So a sniper rifle over here uses 3 kinds of ammo. It can use any of these. So let's say for our sharpshooter, we will go ahead and give him 100 rifle ammo, which would be the ammo underscore rifle, and then whatever's in parentheses is how much he gets. Along with that, I think he should also start with armor piercing. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of his knives and give him armor piercing rounds. We'll give him 50 armor piercing rounds. So along with his sniper rifle, I think we're going to give him a stun ray, which in retrospect we should probably change. This uses a rifle skill as well, so we should probably go back and change pistol down to, say, well, we'll just put 25 for pistol. He's going to be mainly using rifles. So we will go ahead and we're going to replace his jumpsuit. You can add more or remove more. It doesn't really matter. I'm just doing this because I don't have to type the word equipment. So we're going to go ahead and get him a stun ray, which if we come over here, you need an energy backpack to make a stun ray. So we're going to go ahead and we will go ahead and replace his anti-venom with an energy backpack. And we will give him 3 of those. Actually, let's give him 5 because I don't know how many shots this gets. It probably tells you over here somewhere that it gives you like 10 shots or something. I don't know. You can look at it. Shot capacity 35 shots per. Oh, that's a ton actually. That's fine. He's only going to have these 2 weapons. He's not even going to have a knife. So he's got a sniper rifle. He's got stun ray. He's got ammo for the sniper. He has energy cells, which will be for his motion sensor. I do think he should use the motion sensor. He has food. He has med kits. I don't think he needs an electronic toolkit, so we will go ahead and remove that. Digital assistant, I think he'd use motion sensor and lockpicks, yes. Okay, and then we changed the grenades to stun grenades. I think he would have stun grenades. He's going to be based around stunning people and then running far away to shoot them with a sniper rifle, the slow shooting sniper. Med patch is okay. He does not need a sharpening kit. He doesn't have a knife. And so far, I've kept everyone to have the boomstick. They kind of just start with it as like a special. And it's, if the character's bad, at least the shotgun's still there. And he doesn't need these, well actually, we're going to get rid of the polymer infuser. And we're going to come over here to armor. And this is where we're going to choose what armor he's going to have. And that's actually going to be reflected in the main menu too. So most of them start with like random or like really crappy armor. But you can put in whatever armor you really want. There's armor in here I've never personally seen. There's like seismic armor, which I'm not even really sure how that works. So you probably want some sort of armor that reflects your character. So just like say a targeting helm. I would say a targeting helm is probably something that a sniper would probably have. So let's go ahead and give him a targeting helm. So, since we're giving him the targeting helm, we're just going to go ahead and give him a crappy flak jacket. Because you don't want him to be too overpowered, otherwise he's not going to have any upgrades to find. If you go ahead and send him in there with power armor, you're not going to be happy to find any armor because you already have the best armor. So he's going to have a targeting helm and a flak jacket. Another thing you do is, I know somewhere in this list there's boots that make it so you can't lay off traps. You could do that for this guy instead of having traps high. Just whichever one you want to do. Okay, so we're almost done here. So we're going to go into, we have instant blueprint. We don't want to touch that. Origin organic, I want to say that maybe will change whether poison affects you. Like if you make that non-organic, I'm not sure what it is. It's going to be somewhere listed down on a robot somewhere if you want to look at it. For might, finesse, brains, these are the ones we can affect. Psi power doesn't matter because they don't have psionics yet. Let's go ahead and bump up might a little bit and take brains down a little bit. So this guy is going to be getting a lot of stat points and not very many skill points, right? It's going to be, where is it? Yeah, so he's getting 4 stat points to 2 skill points. So this will be pretty high pretty fast. So we'll go ahead and leave it like that. That's good enough. And then probably the last couple interesting things we have walk speed and run speed. So this is obvious, that's pretty self-explanatory. This is if you're walking, this is if you're running. And if you wanted to make, say, a very fast guy who uses pistols, you could, bump that up to something crazy and bump that up. It just depends on what you want. We're going to leave it as is by right now. I'm pretty sure most of the characters are stuck at this. Melee attack range, it's useful if you want to make a guy who's entirely melee-based. But But for our guy who doesn't even have any melee weapons, we probably will leave it at 2.5. And then you can change the achievements. I wouldn't really recommend doing that because it wouldn't work if you change it to anything else. Then we have our speech. You could theoretically change this to something else. I haven't seen anything else but default beep. And then this just shows you the corpse. You probably want the corpse to still look like the same person. And that should be everything for our custom characters. So we have our nice sharpshooter Bill Bilson with his custom health and custom items and custom stats and everything. And he should be good to go. So once we've done that, we want to go ahead and save. Now that you have saved creatures.txt, you want to go ahead over back to your installation of the pit. You want to head into your data, and you want to take your version of creatures. You want to go ahead and copy that. And then you want to paste it over here, and you want to replace the file, which you didn't see because, again, it doesn't show everything. So now we have our new edited one. That should be about the same editing time as our one over here. And now we just need to launch the game. Now that the game is booted up, go ahead to single player, new game, and you should see your new character. So here's my character, sharpshooter Bill Bilson. His custom stats down here, his custom items over here, his sniper rifle, his stun ray, which is apparently a rifle. I did not realize that. His targeting helm, his stun grenades, and everything he starts with. So if we can just go ahead and hop right on in, and we can see our custom character in action. Took a little while to load, but here we are in the game. Here's our custom character. He comes equipped with his armor already. We have our sniper rifle, our stun ray, and our boomstick, and they actually automatically get put in here, which is very nice. And we can go ahead and play the game to our heart's content with our custom characters. This is the stun ray, right? That is not a stun ray. This is the stun ray. I've never seen the stun ray. It's a rifle, so it's really neat. Okay, so there you have it. That's how you make custom characters for the Pit Infinity. To make your own custom guy with his own custom weapons and his own custom skills and whatever you want to do. If you want to download this character or any of the other characters I've made, I should have a download link in the description below. If I don't, shame on me, yell at me and let me know that I forgot to put it in there. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below. Or if you make your own mod, go ahead and let me know. I'd be really interested in seeing what everyone else can make. There's a ton of possibilities here. You can even change how enemies attack and whatnot. You want to give rats grenade launchers? Give the rats grenade launchers and make my ultimate nightmare come true. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Oh God, I have little lights up.